это часто бывает во сне, одно превращается в другое. И 5 огромных снежинок начинают расти, увеличиваться в размерах, заполняя все небо над великой страной. Они превращаются в 5 огромных солнц.
Эти солнца — это 5 олимпийских колец, соединяющих страны и континенты в единое пространство. 5 колец олимпийских игр. А игры одинаково любят и дети, и взрослые.
Как вы прекрасно понимаете, олимпийское открытие — это не только праздничное шоу, это еще и суровый протокол. И первая страница этого протокола открывается сейчас. Диктор по стадиону в строгом соответствии с протоколом начинает по-французски, представляя главу государства, принимающего Олимпиаду, и главу Международного олимпийского комитета, избранного только в этом году.
Дамы и господа, президент Российской Федерации Владимир Путин и президент Международного олимпийского комитета, олимпийский чемпион 1976 года по фехтованию Томас Бах.
А теперь прозвучит мелодия, которую знаем все мы с детства. Сколько бы нам ни было лет. 80, 60, 40, 25. Эту мелодию исполнит не то что старейший, древнейший хор на земле. Он родился, когда даже России еще не было, в самом конце 14 века.
Дамы и господа, хор Московского Сретенского монастыря исполняет гимн Российской Федерации. Просим вас встать.
Дорогие друзья, наш конгресс посвящен счастью детей всего мира.
Dear friends and dear colleagues, our Congress is devoted to happiness of our children.
И сегодняшний день мы решили начать с эмоций счастья.
And today morning we want to give you some piece of happiness.
Сегодня в команде Орленка есть именинница. Это наша прекрасная Юлечка.
Today in our Avionic team we have a birthday girl, it's Yulia, and we want to congratulate her.
Подождите, а может быть в зале еще есть именинники?
Maybe in our world team we have also birthday girls and birthday boys. Please put your hands up and come on.
I know that Liz from Australia was a birthday tomorrow. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. Yes, we need you. Liz from Australia, Julia.
Come on.
Все именинники, выходите к нам сюда. Come on.
All birthday people, please come on.
Давайте поаплодируем нашим именинникам. Может быть, у кого-то вчера был день рождения. Первый день конгресса. Congratulations.
Maybe somebody had his birthday yesterday, or maybe it will be tomorrow. Also, please come out. Okay, dear friends, let's wish to be all together to these great people. All happiness, wealth, and everything will be okay.
Ну, поздравляю.
All together. Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
И прямо сейчас каждый участник Конгресса подарит свою частичку счастья, энергии позитива именинникам. Вы готовы?
And now we will give to each other a piece of happiness, of our happiness, because it's very important to give happiness to each other.
Итак, нам нужно всем поднять руки,
We should do
hands up,
this
и положить их на плечи впереди сидящего человека.
Эти люди уже поднимали российский флаг к звездам.
to persons in front of
Особый
you,
экипаж, собранный специально для церемонии открытия Олимпийских игр.
like this.
Легендарные космонавты Светлана Савицкая, Сергей Крикалев, Роман Романенко, Федор Юрчихин и Елена Серова, которой только предстоит полететь в космос осенью, подняли
И
флаг
сейчас
нашей
все
страны.
мы соединились в один большой поток энергии. И я прошу первые ряды свою руку вперед вытянуть, первые ряды, и передать эстафету счастья нашим именинникам. Are you ready?
Ночных землей. Мириады мерцающих точек внизу огоньки городов, связанные светлыми ленточками дорог, картой энергии нашего мира. Полуостров Пелопоннес, область Иллирия в Южной Греции, место, где в городе Олимпии находилось общегреческое святилище Зевса. Отсюда вышли Олимпийские игры. Отсюда появляется Олимпийская сборная Греции.
Из сердца земли, как из сердца страны, появляются атлеты-участники игр в Сочи. Такого не было никогда.
Дорогие друзья,
Вот земля распахивает свои
сегодня в
сокровищницы
15:30 в
и
этом зале
выходят
команда
главные
«Огромная»
действующие
обратится
лица.
своими
Если
секретами,
хотите,
как
в
нам
будни
удается
сегодняшнего
сделать
дня
детей
флаг
счастливыми.
Греции
Приходите.
несет
Dear
Панайота
friends, we
Цакири,
invite you
биатлонистка,
and we are waiting
представительница
you
знаменитой греческой
today
семьи. Ее
at
папа участвовал в 5
3
Олимпийских
p.m.
играх.
here in
Удивительный
this
флаг.
great
На нем 9 полос,
place.
символизирующих
And
главные
our
призы в
team will show
Греции.
you
Элетерия
how
Этаната,
we
свобода
give
или смерть.
happiness to our children, to children from all the world. Thank you.
Не самая обычная, не самая зимняя держава, тем не менее олимпийская. Нам периодически будут показывать ложу очень-очень важных персон.
Замечательная команда
Алекс Полин, двукратный чемпион мира по новой олимпийской дисциплине борткроссу, несет флаг Австралии. Это вторая уже для Алекса Олимпиада.
The representatives of the International Children's Center Artec also will share the
И обратите
experience.
внимание, как меняется картинка. Каждую страну мы можем видеть так, как видят ее космонавты из космоса. Вот сейчас, например, идет австрийская команда.
Это явный лидер зимних Олимпиад.
Один из традиционных лидеров.
5-е место сразу за Германией, 185 медалей.
И знаменитый Марио Штехер, двоеборец, двукратный олимпийский чемпион, 5 Олимпиад.
Удивительный флаг с древних времен, с крестовых походов, с 13 века. Белый рыцарский плащ, залитый кровью после битвы, и белая полоса на месте пояса. Это они сохранили через века.
В австрийской команде немало семейных, если так можно сказать, экипажей. В частности, австрийцы долго решали, кто понесет флаг. Штекер и его Шурин Бенджамин тоже двукратный олимпийский чемпион. А продолжается, набирает
водички схожу. Пить хочу. Такая что ты меня отпугнешь? Нет, я уже. Я приду сейчас, я подпишу. А вы там останетесь.
Здравствуйте, друзья. Нас уже становится все больше и больше, и я думаю, что мы сегодня начнем. Наши ведущие сегодня отдыхают. Вчера был, я так понимаю, хороший концерт. У вас очень много восторженных отзывов. Мы очень рады, что вам понравилось. Итак, несколько объявлений. Good morning, all. Good morning, sirs and dames. Хорошо, значит, немножечко небольшие объявления, которые нас сегодня ожидают. Будем это делать уже, как Валерий Николаевич советует, каждый день утром. И хочу вам сказать о насущном. Значит, мы планировали и думали, что количество людей, которые будут на этом конгрессе, 800-900 человек. На сегодняшний день по регистрации вас 1255. Вот, можно сказать, что это рекорд, это действительно самое многочисленное количество людей на международном конгрессе вообще за всю историю создания. Поэтому это круто. Можем отдать, да. Спасибо вам за поддержку. Да, и, значит, по поводу, у нас есть два вопроса, две таких небольших проблемы, которые мы практически решили. Первое – это регистрация, можно говорить о ней, вроде все в порядке. И второй вариант – это наши раздаточные материалы. Сумочки, ручки, дождевички, маечки и прочее. Вот, мы долго думали, как эту ситуацию решить правильно, и все-таки просим вас о большом одолжении. Сегодня с 3 часов и завтра с 10 до конца с правой стороны будут стоять 3 или 4 волонтера. Вам необходимо подойти всем тем, кто не получил наши замечательные пакетики, и записаться на их получение. С учетом того, что наш конгресс имеет хороший символ птичку, да, то мы вам доставим этот пакет, где бы вы ни находились. Когда вы приедете, мы вам пришлем DHL или чем-то еще. Вот, так что, пожалуйста, примите его внимание и скажите тем людям, которые здесь заняты. Надеюсь, вы нас поймете. Дальше также сегодня с 3 и завтра с 10, там же с правой стороны на стойке информации, вы можете подойти и проверить информацию по отъезду, по трансферу, который осуществляется 12 числа. И 12 числа к вечеру во всех гостиницах, где вы проживаете, будут вывешены списки всех тех, кто отъезжает 12 октября. Так, дальше. Значит, сегодняшняя программа у нас имеет некоторые изменения. Значит, в 11:15 зал Эльбрус, второй этаж, состоится круглый стол по обмену международным опытом в сфере организации отдыха детей и оздоровления с участием заместителя министра образования и науки Российской Федерации Зиньковича Павла Станиславовича. В 15:30 в VIP ложа 3 пройдет уникальная площадка по теме «Смена для детей с особенностями здоровья». Модератор и директор государственного автономного учреждения содействия детскому отдыху Белоногова Елена Владимировна. В 5 часов в зале «Эверест» пройдет презентация деятельности Международного детского центра «Аратек». Валерий Николаевич уже это сказал. Да, и еще бы хотел сказать парочку объявлений по поводу нашего московского дома от секции фестиваля «Китпро». С 7 до 8 вечера в московском доме ожидается изготовление и дегустация русской еды, как пельмени, наверное, вы уже знаете, что это такое, да, это мясо в тесте, слепленное руками и пожаренное на сковородке. С 7:30 до 8 часов у нас будет дегустация, очередная там, это будет вино, еще что-то такое, приходите. Ну и в 8:15, 8:20 подтягивайтесь сюда, в зал Эльбрус, на второй этаж, там пройдет вечер международных всех ассоциаций и международных стран. Тоже будет большая концертная программа. Спасибо. Теперь я представляю слово Джургенсу. Спасибо.
Thank you.
Доброе утро. It's time to learn our numbers. Один, один, два, три, один, два, три. All together. Один, два, три, четыре. Okay? Пять. Шесть. Да? So, четыре, пять, шесть. Один, два, три, четыре, пять, шесть. You can do it. You did it when we went more slowly. And the only difference between more slowly and more quickly is practice. And when we practice the things we want to accomplish, then we can do it. If we practice a better way to live, a better way to treat people, then it becomes natural. So, keep practicing. Good morning. I want to take just a few minutes with you this morning before we hear our guest speaker to talk a little bit about the things that ICF is doing and the things that you can do with and for the ICF. We have, as I mentioned yesterday, been an organization for now these 30 years. And over those years there have been some changes, but there have been many things that have remained the same. We have written some material, and you'll find
some information about the ICF in your program. Some pictures of the board members, some descriptions of the things that we do. Please take some time to look at the program at some point. And if you have any questions, you can ask us. I want to introduce a few people. It won't take long. The first two people I want to introduce are two dear friends. They are two great leaders. They are two wonderful mentors, and they are known to most of you. They are both past presidents of the International Camping Fellowship, and I would ask, please, that Jenny Bowker from Australia might stand and be recognized by us, and Valerie Austin, who also is our past president. Jenny and Valerie. There are no two more wonderful ambassadors of what it is that we are all about than the example that these two have set for us and continue to do, to espouse why we are doing what we're doing and living the example. In addition to that, I'd like to introduce some of our board members. I'm going to do it all at once. Our board members, we are 15 in all, and our board members are all volunteer. They work together face-to-face really only once a year, but they work from their homes, and we finally we gather together in some part of the world in order to continue our projects and to discuss what needs to happen next. But these people have come to the ICF, as I say, as volunteers, and they carry their own expenses in order to work on our behalf. And it would be improper for us not to acknowledge all of that hard work. Many of the ICF board from the period from 2014 to 2017 are here in the room. As I say, their pictures and names are in the book, and I hope you'll take some time to look at it. But I would ask that, first of all, the board from the 2014 to 2017, would you please stand so that we can see and acknowledge your work on our behalf? So if you're on that board, we are here. Please remain standing. Some of these fine people, please remain standing so that we can add to this group some new members of the board. And these people will be meeting today for the very first time as a board member, and be meeting these people so that we can hand the baton and discuss how we proceed smoothly into the future. So, may I please have all of the new board members who are here, if you could stand so that you can be recognized. There is Pablo, there's Michael, there's Anna, and the second. Thank you very much. The reason that the ICF, it was so important that 30 years ago when we gathered together and said, we can't let this stop. The next year, a small group met and wrote down these ideas, that it was important that we stay in touch with one another. Communication is a critical part of ICF. Reaching out, explaining, talking to one another, finding out more information about what goes on in other countries. Exchange. Usually what happens is we have handshakes and hugs here, and then one person says to another person, I'd love to come and visit, or have some campers come to visit, or some staff come to visit, and we work out, or they work out, some bilateral exchanges. The ICF, just at this conference, has begun a bigger conversation, and we are now looking at how it is that ICF can help multilateral exchanges. Campers or staff from your camps to camps in other countries, and building a relationship in this community. This community is based on trust, it's based on friendship, and as we get to know one another, then there are wonderful opportunities that we can pass along to our campers. The third thing is professional development. And that professional development is in the form of congresses. We can look back. I have a few pictures of some of the congresses of the past. And this gathering is just the latest in an opportunity to meet together in different places of the world to discover camping activity in a way that we never knew existed. Each time there's a congress, it's because a group of people step up and say, we would like to help, and we would like to host, and we would like to help others come and be part of the experience here. It's these people, person to person, one more time, who really make the difference. They come from different camps, they come informally, often they come simply as volunteers. Occasionally there's some government support, but mostly it is people rolling up their sleeves and making an event happen. That's the way the very best things happen. There's an investment when that happens. Who was in Hong Kong? In this case, we were at the YMCA camp in Hong Kong. This is the committee from a number of different camps all across Hong Kong in an area where we never believed that there could be so many camps. Anyone in Antalya, Turkey in 2014? Again, camp, volunteers, members of the Turkish camping community coming together in order to create success. The second way that we achieve professional development and learning and growth is through our International Camp Directors course. The International Camp Directors course is a core service that we have developed over the years and enhanced and enriched. The most recent course took place at Orleanic just days ago, and it is a product of some groundwork that's been laid by some great camping leaders, but our current ICDC, International Camp Director Course Coordinator, is here in the room, and she's recovered from 5 hard days of work, and I'm going to ask you to hold your applause because I want to introduce an ever larger group. But Connie Coutilier is our ICDC coordinator and has been for the last 10 years. ICF took on this project in Quebec in 2008, and here we are in 2017. We'll invite Connie to stand, and then I'll invite beside her Andrew McGuckin to stand, and Juan Manuel Gutierrez to stand. These three, again, I'll just ask you to wait because we'll be applauding all day in a moment, because these three form the faculty of the International Congress that are ICDCs. These courses work to train trainers so that more courses can take place in other parts of the world. And they need some super trainers, and here's the faculty for that program. So as I mentioned, in Orleanic, a number of people took part in that course, and I'll bet many of them are in the room. I'll ask all of them to join these folks. If you were at Orleanic and participating in the ICDC, some more are standing. And now I'm going to add, if any of you have ever been to any ICDC course, would you please stand up? Ladies and gentlemen, this group is part of over 700 participants. Over 700 people across the world are better camp leaders because of the course that is the International Camp Directors course. We're grateful for all of the work that's done on all of our behalfs. I mentioned communication, and the third part of this morning that I'd like to talk about is how we connect together, how it is we can communicate. It is amazing that we speak so many languages and yet we find the common language of camping. ICF tries to reach across the language barrier, and you help that happen. All of our work currently is delivered in English. However, you should know what it is that ICF Connect has to offer you and what it is that you can offer to it. So, this address is important. You should write it down because your name, if you are a member of ICF, your name is associated with this website. You can go to this website and you can create a camping profile. You can create an opportunity to introduce yourself to the rest of the camping community. It is a closed community, only for members and affiliates of the ICF, and a chance for you to, as I said, to register, to exchange, to find some resources, participate in your own special discussions, and stay connected with the people that you have met with. When you get there, you'll have an opportunity through your email to associate your name with your profile, and then you can build it as you go forward. You can check out the different forums and information that's available there. And even if your language, your first language is not English, if you create a special format of the document, we can load up other languages as well. And it is not quite as serviceable, but you'll be able to pass along information and exchange information that is of value to you and to others. It also gives you an opportunity to participate as a member, to pay your dues, to participate in events, to find out about events, and to grow forward. So we want you to go and find yourself. Go find yourself. We want you to go find yourself on the ICF Connect website, and we want you to become part of it. Right now, it is waiting for people to begin the conversation, to start sharing with one another. And the more we do that, the richer the website and the platform will become. Imagine this. Just picture this. You have a dream. You've decided that you want to compete in World Cup Olympic class sailing. Isn't it? What a dream to aspire to. No. Picture this. You have decided that you want to climb a mountain in Nepal. How many people have ever even thought about climbing a mountain in Nepal? Has a great appeal, doesn't it? No. Maybe add to that, you have decided to captain a 110-foot tall sailing ship and sail on the Atlantic Ocean. No. Picture this. In addition to those three things, that you really want to win a medal in para-alpine skiing trials. Picture this. Do all of those things and more as a four-way amputee. Picture changes for a lot of us, doesn't it? Some of us have already met Unstoppable Tracy. In just one moment of an encounter with her, we have discovered, and I know you will discover, a richer way of thinking, a wiser way to approach adversity, and a better way to live your life. Tracy lives her life in a way that we want our campers and our staff to live their lives. She knows that the biggest obstacle to success is often our own lack of faith and belief in ourselves. Tracy has been recognized and recruited for planning and integration of the Pan American Games and the Para-Pan American Games. She has supported the largest and most successful games ever. We are very fortunate that Unstoppable Tracy has made the trip here. I think she probably flew the plane here, but I don't know that. But today we can be inspired and we can welcome a new camping friend in Unstoppable Tracy.
Thank you. Dubre Ultra ICC. Yes, try again. Dubre Ultra Tracy.
Ultra Tracy.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Valari, for the stairs. I have a confession, a secret. May I share my secret? I can actually do the stairs. I just like being held by Valari. Will you help me warm up and get a little more comfortable? Where's my Anastasia friend? Ready with the ball, darling? Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's make sure it works. Okay, not bad. May I ask everybody on this side of the room, when the ball is in the air, will you say, ooh? Try that again. Yes! Can I ask everyone on this side of the room, will you please say, ah? So when the ball's in the air? Pardon?
Ah. Ah. Ah.
Lovely. All right. Here we go. Have I got my Anastasia ready over there? So when the ball's in the air, we go. When the ball hits the ground, we go.
Ah.
Everybody ready? Here we go.
Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Ah. Ooh. Ah.
Give yourself a round of applause. You may wonder why we did that as an icebreaker. And part of that's because when I enter a room, typically that's kind of what happens. Especially when I'm wearing my Russian influenced dress. They're like, ooh, ah. And maybe for a couple of other reasons as well. So, Radha Vitvas. So wonderful to meet all of you. I, like all of you, am in the construction business. We learned about that with our wonderful Michael yesterday. Thank you, Michael. Together, we are all building great people, Michael says. And John York says, we're also building great international fellowship. And all of us will be great champions of children, spreading happiness all around the world. All of us here love camp. Yalu Blue Legir. Well, thank you, Andrew. Spasiba. 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 Can we give a round of applause for Andrew and all of the technical help? Thank you. Can we also say spasiba, translators? Spasiba, translators. And can we also say spasiba to our volunteers? Spasiba, volunteers. So, Yalu Blue Lagir. Lagir. Yalu Blue Lagir. I love camp. We love camp. And I love helping all of us at camp
together break through our barriers. I am so lucky that at 5 years old, I got to go to camp and learn to swim. All of us, how do we know unless we try? And we get to do that at camp. So all of us get to face those fears and break through those obstacles. And now we are breaking through the obstacles of fundraising and staffing and creating that welcoming culture that we're looking for. We all have new obstacles that carry on right through into adulthood for us. But there is a plan for each and every single one of us. And I've been lucky enough to learn that at a very young age. I grew up on a wonderful street. Everyone on my street won a lottery. This was an Ontario affordable housing lottery. In order to live on that street, you had to have 2.5 children. I'm suspecting I'm the half. And you have to have no family in Canada, no relatives to support you. And if you met that criteria, you could buy a house for $25,000 and pay it over 25 years. And as a result of no one having family, everyone on my street all grew up together. Our holidays were together. Our Christmases and our Hanukkah and our Eid and all of our holidays. These people I call aunts and uncles and cousins. So the first day of school, the first day of kindergarten, we are all walking down the street. Mom's got my hand. And the school administrator, the school principal, has to stop my mom. And he says, "I'm sorry, Tracy can't go here." And my mom said, "What? How come?" And the principal said, "Well, the teacher has 30 students, and she's all by herself in the classroom. Tracy must be able to tie her shoelaces. Tracy must be able to do up her coat. The teacher can't help Tracy one-on-one with these 30 other children." And so I learned a valuable lesson that day. You know, how many of us have been told no before? But it's looking pretty unanimous in this room. What my mom taught me that day was really listen and counteroffer. So she heard they were worried about being time-consuming. And my mom knew that I could do those things. So she counteroffered. And she took the sting out of being stuck with Tracy. And she said, "Can we just try Tracy for 1 week? And if it doesn't work out, well then, we will consider other school options for Tracy." And so the principal hemmed and hawed and said, "Okay." So the big goal that day was that I would get outside for recess, because that meant I could stay. And so my principal raced outside to see if I made it for recess. I wasn't there. My principal waited 5 minutes. I wasn't there. My principal waited 10 minutes. I wasn't there. At 15 minutes, my principal's heart dropped because I never made it outside by the time the recess bell went. So after school, my principal didn't want my mom to hear the bad news all by herself. So he raced over to meet her. And my mom was too excited to see me. She raced ahead of him, It's Tracy, did you get outside for recess? And I couldn't even look at my mom. Because you see, when my mom dropped me off, she got down, Michael style, on her hands and knees, and she was facing me eye to eye when she dropped me off. And my earliest childhood memory, I can still feel my mom's fingers holding my arms. She held my arms so tight that it hurt. And she said, Tracy, make sure everybody's included at recess, including you. Nobody left behind. And I promised. So when I didn't make it outside for recess with everybody, I had broke my promise. So the principal, he spoke up for me. And my principal said, you didn't make it outside, did you, Trace? And I'm like, no, Mom, I didn't. Well, my mom, she stomps off over to the teacher to find out what happened. And she said, how come Tracy didn't make it outside for recess? And the teacher says, well, Tracy was the first one ready. Shoes tied, coat on, ready to go. But her little friend couldn't tie her shoelaces. So Tracy helped. Thank you. It turns out none of the 30 other kids could tie their shoelaces. And the teacher said to my mom, and for some reason she was bound and determined that everyone was included, so she tied everybody's shoelaces, and she didn't make it outside in time. But pretty wacky that the only child in that school with no hands had to be required to tie her shoelaces when none of the other children could. All of us have operating procedures. We all have these rules, or we have these beliefs about what somebody can do and what makes them okay to participate in our camps or in our countries to have a camp. And sometimes those perceptions are not relevant. Just like tying shoelaces didn't matter in kindergarten. And so I'm here today to share my limitless secret. And I spell in English limitless with a B. Limb. Limb means a leg. A limb. The limitless secret. It's not a very good joke when you have to explain it. So my limitless secret for an incredible camp life and incredible camp culture internationally is to exceed your uncertainties, is to embrace possibilities, and to earn independence. So let's start with exceed your uncertainty. This is a photograph in Melbourne, Australia, for my Aussie friends in the room. It's a World Cup regatta. In this regatta, there were many men. Sailing is a male-dominated sport. Many big, strong men, like my friend Valari, with their big muscles. And in this sailing regatta, I thought back to the first time I sailed. I apologize for the old photograph, but when I sail with my legs off. Because at camp, I learned to swim. And because I could swim, I could learn to sail. But that first summer sailing, I was like a weeble-wobble doll without my legs, and I kept falling out of the boat. And so the end of that summer, all the other campers, they got their white sail level 1. They got their first level. And after that summer, I got a fish because I spent more time swimming with the fish. But the next summer, I got my white sail level 2 and 1. I learned how to balance in the boat. And sometimes we feel like we're falling out of the boat. But once I figured out how to balance, I also got white sail level 1, I caught up, white sail level 2 like everybody, but not like everybody, I also got my white sail level 3. It turns out I had an affinity for the wind. What worked for me is that I believed I was capable, and you, my camp counselors, my camp directors, you believed I was capable, even though I was falling out of the boat at first. Some of you may have some doubt. I say embrace that possibility. What stops people? We're kind of like this black and white kitten, doing the best we can in our camp world, facing some of those big cats out there. And we're doing our best. We're putting it out there, we're facing those big cats, but every now and then, they get us. But you know what? That little kitten, she wanted to play with the big cat. She got exactly what she wanted. They were playing together. So embrace that possibility. When I started skiing, someone said, I'm going to get you skiing. I didn't know how. You might have said, I'm going to open a camp in Mongolia or Pakistan, somewhere in a remote place, and you didn't know how, but you put it out there. We didn't know how I would ski, but we were going to do it. So we put men's ski boots backwards on my thighs. I didn't have any toes, and it put me in the duck squat position. It put me in the ski position. So I didn't know how to turn. I was in Corner Brook, Newfoundland. It's a small town east side of Canada, and they have funny expressions. The name of this ski run is called, Oh My Jesus. So we get off the chairlift, and I ski ahead. My skis took me ahead, not on purpose. And my ski instructor shouts, turn, turn. And I don't know how, so I kept going straight. And I ended up on the top of OMJ. Oh my Jesus. All of us are sometimes faced at camp with those moments where we are saying to ourselves, oh my Jesus, oh my goodness, what am I involved with? Who is this parent? Or how will I pay for this damage? Or where will I find the perfect campsite? Well, I wiped out in the trees 12 times. So on Friday, it was time to go. And I said to my ski instructor, I want to ski OMJ. And he's like, oh, Tracy. And I'm like, I have realistic goals. I just want to wipe out 11 times instead of 12. So that day, we skied 20 runs all over Corner Brook, Newfoundland. And I was mad. I got in that taxi, and my ski instructor said, what's wrong? We had a sunny day and lots of runs. I said, Ian, you promised me we would ski OMJ. What worked for me in sailing is they believed I was capable. What doesn't work for me is avoiding failure, trying to set me up for success and not taking things on because we don't know how. Doesn't work for me. And he says, Tracy. And I said, no, you promised. And he said, Tracy, you did ski OMJ. I didn't even recognize it on Friday. So I was lucky to go on to get a bronze medal. And we got me some better ski legs than those backwards boots. Sometimes we don't feel so effective. And just remember, you're at that Monday of that oh me Jesus moment. Persevere, stick with it, practice, practice. And you'll soon be dancing through those old problems. Embrace the possibility, exceed your uncertainty, and earn independence. This is a painting I did. It's a watercolor. I've taught in Uganda and Mexico and Nepal and Jamaica and United Kingdom, all around the world. And so that's what inspired this painting. But when I was in school, they didn't allow me to take part in gym class. So what I got was 2 art classes. So I got to be athletic as well as an artist. But sometimes we are out there feeling all alone as camp organizers. This is the first time I climbed a cliff and rappelled the other side. And I felt like I was all alone out there, pretty scary. And my friend Trevor here, this is the spatula, the finger tool that I wear on my hand that helps me hold things like my pen, or my toothbrush, or my hairbrush, or my clicker. So I was rappelling down this cliff, and I had an oh me Jesus moment. So I stopped. And the person on my safety line shouts, Tracy, are you on the ground? I haven't got control over you anymore. And I'm like, she hasn't got control over me anymore. And then I was like, she hasn't got control over me anymore. I'm doing this. You guys are those lifelines. You guys are my safety line. I get to go out into the world and feel and be independent because you guys are my lifelines. You guys set me up for success. I went on from outward bound type of camp environment to climbing in the Himalayas of Nepal and teaching in Nepal. So this is me with my legs off. Sometimes I wear pants and you don't know that my legs are artificial. So I share this picture. And in the boat, looks like a child, but it's a 21-year-old man. So you look at, oh, what can she do? In Russia, everyone is offering to help me all the time. And I'm doing okay. I'm holding my plate just fine. I can walk around with my broccoli and my carrots, all my healthy things, and I'm not struggling, but still, people want to help me. And so, just like this young man, who's 21, he's capable. And so I was born this way. They don't know why. Just a fluke. But I remember after Hurricane Sandy that happened, that flooded New York of the United States, I was in the air when that happened. And my flight was very scary, and I thought I was going to die. And my dying wish, if I lived, was to pursue my Paralympic dream. And so I phoned people, and I said, how do I become a Canadian Paralympian? And they said, no way, Trace. It's tens of thousands of hours. You'd have to own your own boat. You'd have to train with with a high-performance Paralympic coach. They said, forget that. You have to train with a gold Olympian, an able-bodied coach. And I said, oh, well, thank you very much. I found a gold Olympian, Magnus Lidgedal, lived in Miami, Florida. So on Friday, I was laid off of my job. And on Sunday, on a plane ride, I thought I was going to die. So on Monday, I put all my belongings, my bed, my dresser, everything. And if it didn't fit in my car, I gave it away. And I drove down to Miami, Florida to find Magnus Lidgedal. I tweeted him, I Facebooked him, I Instagrammed him. He never replied. For 14 days, I tried to find him. He never replied. I showed up in Miami, Florida, and he wasn't there. The next day, he was washing a boat. But of course, he's a gold Olympian. He doesn't have time for me. So I picked up a sponge, and I helped him wash the boat. For 3 months, I washed boats, I fetched lunch, I repaired sails. I never got up in a boat with Magnus. And one day, someone was coming into the dock out of control. Everybody was screaming in panic. And I'm sitting on the dock repairing a sail with my legs off, and I shout, uncleat the main, that middle line, push the boom, back the sail, and head for me. The wind was coming from my direction, so that would have slowed them down. Head for me. And the boat slowed down, and I tied them off, and I calmed them down, and Magnus saw it happen. He walked down to the dock, and he said, Tracy, you can sail. I said, yes, Magnus, I've been trying to tell you for 3 months. He said, come on, let's go sailing. And he got me to forget Paralympic trials, which I got to. He got me to World Cup regattas around the world. There were 40 sailors on a start line. 37 of them were men. 33 of them were able-bodied. Of the 7 that had a disability, 1 was missing a toe. 1 was missing a thumb. A couple were paralyzed from the waist down. I call that paper cuts. So 40 votes, 33 able-bodied. And Magnus made that happen for me. But he didn't say yes right away. So the way you earn that independence is not from doing it independently, is not from doing it alone. You guys are my lifeline. You guys make it happen. And you make it happen for each other. ICC, ICF, the International Camping Fellowship is your lifeline, and each other are each other's lifelines. If I can do it, you can do it. So the 3 keys to an unstoppable you: believe you're capable, exceed uncertainty, embrace possibilities, even if you don't know how, and earn independence by jumping and finding those parachutes, finding those friendships that set you up for success and give you a safety line. You might still be saying, seriously, Tracy? Can I ask you to turn to a friend and look them in the eye and say, you can do it? Yeah! Thank you so much. This has been an absolute pleasure. This does not have to be the last time we speak. I would love for us to do a selfie all together as the goodbye. I'm going to tag it ICC2017. You're going to be with me, my friend? You ready? We're going to turn it around so they can see you and me and all of them, but we can't see them. See them? Everybody wave! Yay! Oops, no, see them. See them? Everybody wave! Woo! Thank you. Oh, wait, we didn't even record. Wait a minute, he forgot. Woo! There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
And my heart beats so that I can hardly speak. And I seem to find that happiness I seek when we're out together, dancing cheek to cheek. Heaven, I'm in heaven, and the cares that lie around me through the week seem to vanish like the careful when we're out together, dancing cheek to cheek. Oh, I love to climb the mountain to reach the highest peak, but it doesn't put me half as much as dancing cheek to cheek. Oh, I love to go out fishing in a river or a creek, but I don't enjoy it half as much as dancing cheek to cheek.